We told you earlier that President Tinubu assented to the Southwest Development Commission bill, as well as the South-South Development Commission bill, and also the Nigeria Anti-Doping Bill of 2025. Special advisor to the President on Senate matters, Basiru Lado, made this known in a statement noting that the legislations reflect President Tinubu's commitment to inclusive governance, equitable progress, and Nigeria's emergence as a global powerhouse. It says by signing the bills, President Tinubu has reaffirmed his role as a transformational leader who prioritizes regional empowerment, economic expansion, and infrastructural excellence. Mr. Lado said the commissions would serve as catalysts for industrial growth, job creation, and social advancement, ensuring that every corner of Nigeria benefits from his administration's progressive vision. He did add that Nigeria's anti-doping bill of 2025 solidified Nigeria's commitment to fairness, excellence, and integrity in global sports. Let's talk about these commissions for a bit. I'm joined by APC National Secretary and also former spokesperson of the Senate, Senator Ajibola Bashir. Thank you for joining us on the program this evening, distinguished.
Yeah, good evening. How are you?
Great. As a member of the 9th Senate, I'm sure that you, alongside with your colleagues, played a significant role in shaping some of the bills that have now been signed by Mr. President, including the Southwest Development Commission bill. But let's begin with your understanding of why each zone needs a development commission.
Yes, I think it's very imperative for us to say that every federation has its own peculiarities. At inception, Nigeria was a three-region federation comprising the North, the West, and the Eastern region of Nigeria before the creation of the Midwestern region. But with the incursion of the military, Nigeria was divided into 12 states, from 12 states to 19 states, from 19 states to 21 states. From 21 states, you now have a 36 federation with the FCT. The reality is that with the balkanization of the so-called federating unit, the competence of those units to drive meaningful development growth within the context of the modern development has been hampered by the balkanization of those state entity. Even when our government took over in Osun in 2011, we had to, with other governors in the Southwest region, set up what we call development agenda for Western Nigeria, which is housed presently in the Cocoa House in Ibadan. The aim is to be able to leverage on a relative advantage of each government and then be able to collaborate to have meaningful development coming to the Southwest. So this Regional Development Commission is to be able to address the challenges that the balkanization of the state entity with the attendant challenge that they have in being able to bring meaningful, holistic development to the people of Nigeria.
A good way to put it, but some have argued whether or not regional government can be advanced by federal agencies like these commissions, that it's possibly that the idea has to do with regional ownership of resources. What are your thoughts in this regard?
There's no one size fits all when it comes to making conceptualization of what works in government. And of course, even the Nigerian Supreme Court in plethora of cases has cautioned that we cannot have a kind of attachment to a rigid definition of concept of federalism. Every society must develop what works for it. The idea of Regional Development Commission is to be able to ensure that federal resources are harnessed and be able to address the peculiarity of challenges in each of the regions that we have in Nigeria. And this is coming against the backdrop of successes that have been made with the Niger Delta Development Commission. It is thought that this can also be replicated in other regions so that regional issues that needed federal attention and collaboration with the state can definitely be addressed. So it's a win-win situation for the Nigerian people when the states are embarking on development and the federal government is also focusing on certain key infrastructure, particularly those that straddle the territories of the state, and then those require huge resources and collaborations between the federal and the state entities.
We'll talk about the NDDC shortly and the examples, the exemplary precision that it's given in this regard. But let's start with the Southwest Development Commission. How do you respond to critics who argue that this commission, like others before it, may become another bureaucratic layer prone to mismanagement and inefficiency?
You see, I don't know, in every society, you will have people who, even when you give, we have the best of intention, they only look at things from a negative, perspective. But then, my brother, that is the beauty of, democracy. Heterogeneity and diversity of ideas and perspective is what, beautify, democracy. As far as some of us are concerned, every effort that aim at bringing development, at addressing the infrastructure, deficiency, at harnessing resources to be able to create a productive economy whereby the teeming youth of Nigeria will have hope is a welcome development. If the challenges will be bureaucratic control and possibility of corruption, there are legal and institutional frameworks that can be put in place to be able to address those challenges. It's just saying that because you are likely to get constipated due to the fact that you have certain medical condition, you will not be able to eat in that regard. You cannot negative effort at development because there will be challenges of corruption, there will be challenges of bureaucratic efficiency of those agencies. When those challenges are be identified, then the job remains being able to tackle those challenges and then be able to get into the positive area of tackling development, holistic development for our people.
Distinguished, you don't think that there might be some genuineness in these concerns expressed? The Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, and the Northeast Development Commission, for instance, have had their own fair share when it comes to allegations of corruption and poor project execution. Should we not instead consider fundamentally safeguards, or rather put safeguards in place to ensure that these commissions avoid those pitfalls?
You see, what I'm saying is this. Will you say because there are allegations of corruption and poor project management in NDDC and NEDC, that means that NDDC and NEDC have not had significant impact positively on the people in those regions? The answer definitely will be no. So the fact that there are always challenges of making our system to be more effective, to be more efficient, and of course to address the problem of waste and maladministration does not mean that we should not be able to bring in processes, program, agencies, commission that will be necessary to facilitate and catalyze development. When you go to the Niger Delta region, and I monitored the engagement that the Mr. President had recently with PANDEF, and he made mention of the giant stride being made by the NDDC under the leadership of Dr. Sam Ogbuku. And when you go to the NEDC too, you see projects impacting positively on the life of the people of the northeastern region being embarked upon by the NEDC. So the fact that there are such challenges is just as saying that even in the whole structure of government in Nigeria, there are allegations that are against some governments at the state level, even at the federal level. Some agencies are alleged to have been engaged in corruption. Would then that mean that we should scrap government because we will have challenges? The whole essence of governance in being able is being able to identify those challenges, then be able to put framework, legal, institutional, bureaucratic, administrative, and of course sociological solution to be able to address those challenges. For some of us, it's salutary that the effort that was begun in the 9th Assembly, having Southwest Development Commission, has been brought to fruition by the able leadership of the National Assembly and, of course, the support of our President, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And we believe that the naysayers in no time will be able to see that these are framework that will catalyze more meaningful, impactful development positively on the Nigerian people, particularly creating an enabling environment for the engagement of the teeming youth who are looking for hope, who are looking, for their future to be brightened in a greater Nigerian economy.
Senator Bashir, let's take a very short break, and we'll be right back with more on this conversation. Stay with us, everyone. Thanks for staying with us, everyone. Senator Ajibola Bashir, former spokesperson of the 9th Senate and also National Publicity Secretary, National Secretary.
National
of the
Secretary.
APC.
National Secretary, not
I corrected myself already. Distinguished. National Secretary of the APC.
So that
Felix
Smoker will not think that I'm taking
now you are taking his job. All right. Thank you for staying the course on the program, distinguished. So the Development Commission in the Southwest is touted as a catalyst for industrialization and job creation in the region. And it sounds really good. But do Nigerians really know the specifics rather, as to the projects or sectors that will be prioritized? Because there are, concerns about, will it not be a duplication of initiatives in the region like Amotekun or Odua Investment Group, or even what the state governments do?
No, it can't definitely be a duplication of the efforts. Odua Investment has become a kind of an investment arm born out of the heritage of the Western region efforts at energizing governance by private sector, involvement. And of course, it has something to do with, what we are talking about, having a commission that is well-funded, well-resourced, and embarking on projects impacting on, the life of the people. For instance, there are still largely infrastructure deficiency in many communities, particularly in the areas which can be able to assist us in tapping the potentials we have in the agriculture sector and the agro-allied, industry. These are areas I believe that the Southwest Development Commission will focus, upon. Of course, we also have in the, region potential for solid, minerals. These are areas where there can be enough collaboration and partnership to be able to ensure this is tapped. Overall, when you look through the nooks and crannies of not only the Western region, but Nigeria, you see a big gap in terms of infrastructure deficit, particularly in terms of linkages of infrastructure between and among the states comprising in the region. And you will recollect that I started by saying that the balkanization of the states and the fact that we now have several bureaucracies being replicated, gulping the bulk of the resources of this state, has hampered those states to be impactful in terms of being able to deliver on giant infrastructure that will be able to catalyze development. You will recollect that what we have now today as the 6 states in Western region and Edo and Delta is governed by a single bureaucracy of the Western region from Ibadan, which today you now have 8 bureaucracies, 8 state house of assembly, 8 judiciary within the same geographical space, with attendant cost on the overhead. So when you combine the overhead implication or balkanization of the state and the benefit that we can now get from having a commission that is not so much bogged down by those bureaucratic challenges and large overhead, being able to deliver development, it will be a thing of joy for the people of the Western region to be able to see that development is being brought to their doorstep because of the need to address that lacuna being created by the balkanization of the state entities, particularly during the military